walking in the opposite way. The herd of sheep is generally always going the wrong direction. Brandon Gentile here. Humans find comfort in the herd. Humans find comfort in collective thinking. Humans are generally wrong, as a herd of sheep is generally always going the wrong direction. They are generally wrong as well. Something that has helped in my experience is to find the person that stands out, not necessarily follow them, but listen to them, what they have to say, and question why they are saying it. That will lead to deeper discussion, deeper debate, and deeper thinking. Who knows, you might just learn something you didn't initially understand. Both of you. Both of you can learn from each other. Bob Proctor is one of my favorite mentors, personal development mentors of all time. And he talks about most people, if they talked about what they were thinking, they'd be silent. Mental activity, you seeing something or hearing a siren, as he says, you might have a flash of an ambulance or a fire truck come across the screen in your mind, but that's not thinking. That's just mental activity. Most people have their five senses, and that's all they use. But very few use their intuition, their imagination, their perception, their will, their memory, their higher faculties, the things, the senses that are separating us from the animal kingdom. That's what God has given us, that he has not given anyone else. That's what most of us do not use. We have a lot of mental activity going on, a lot of mental gymnastics going on, a lot of mental just turning the radio on, as Brian Tracy calls it, chewing gum for the mind, the radio or the TV, and just your mind just sitting there gnawing on that gum, just mindlessly doing nothing. But very few of us are actually thinking, truly thinking. As Henry Ford had said, paraphrasing, thinking is the hardest activity in the world, and very few do it. That's why very few have a lot, and a lot have very few. It's better to walk alone than with a crowd going in the wrong direction. Bob Proctor talks a lot about humans wanting to know. Ignorance leads to worry and doubt, which then leads to fear, and then expresses itself in anxiety. Then anxiety, it internalizes it. You don't go outward with it. He talks about anxiety internalizing itself, and then that forms disease, dis-ease, and depression. It internalizes itself in depression, and then eventually disintegration, completely falling apart. Knowing or knowledge, on the other hand, is the opposite of ignorance. Knowing leads to understanding, which then leads to faith, and then expresses itself externally. People want to show that they're happy, they're learning, they're growing, and then that's just a natural state. That's why you say, oh wow, that guy's in a good vibe. I'm really vibing with that guy. Because they're showing this state of attraction, this energy, this positivity. It externalizes itself through well-being. When we do this, we are at ease instead of dis-ease, like when we're in ignorance or not knowing. These are from Bob Proctor's Thinking into Results program, those pictures, which is a course he has, which is phenomenal. I suggest anyone to go find that. I think I bought that one off of eBay or something like that. I couldn't find it anywhere else. But I think you might be able to get it on a site, I believe. And it is kind of expensive, but it's worth it though. It's well worth it. Hope. Bob talks a lot about human beings having hope that is manifested through knowing or understanding. Obviously, the Bible talks a lot about this as well, as it is said that humans cannot live on bread alone. One of the things I committed to years ago was reading at least a few minutes, maybe 5 or 10 minutes, about something positive or maybe some Bible verses or personal development that would put me in the right state to start my day. And again, Tony Robbins talks a lot about this, being in the right state, getting yourself in the right state, etc. Many of these personal development men and women talk about this, being in the right state, putting yourself in the right state. Jordan Belfort in the sales industry talks about being in the right state. It's a common thing when you get into this world of success and achievement. They talk about the same things. Energy. Life is energy, and energy is life. Life is infinite. It's abundant. It's all around us. Everything there ever was and everything there ever will be all around us. Again, the Bible talks about that. Bob talks about it all the time, right? The ability to have the internet or have the jet engine. These things were always with us. 5,000 years ago, they were with us. We just didn't have the accumulated knowledge to put it into form, as he talks about. And once you start getting these levels of understanding, then things start to come together for you, and you can start piecing the puzzle together. And when that understanding, like we said, it starts begetting faith, and then faith begets well-being. But when we don't have this, we have ignorance, we have worry and doubt. We don't know how we're going to get our next meal. We don't know how we're going to make bills next month. We don't know how. Then leads to fear and anxiety and skittishness and people snapping at each other and road rage because we don't understand. It starts with ignorance. Again, what's easy to do is easy not to do. I do this 5 to 10 minutes every day, reading some good things that put me in a great state. I have no idea where I'd be if I didn't do this repetitively each morning when I got up. With a handful of children and people to lead each day, it's one of the keys to success in my playbook. It's one of the things I have found, that lone successful person walking the opposite direction from the herd, like that picture up top, from everyone else does, that the average person does not do. It's no secret that the 1% have what the 99% do not have. Quite simply, successful people do the things that many of us either don't know to do, ignorance, or choose willingly not to do. They don't understand. Either they don't know in ignorance or they don't fully understand it. They might have the knowledge, they might have the wherewithal right here, but they haven't studied. They haven't repetitively studied and imprinted it in their mind, so they lack the understanding, which then leads you back to fear and anxiety, and you do not have the faith and well-being. So hopefully that's making sense. Please let me know if you have any questions or comments on this. I've been studying this for a number of years, and I'm going to talk about this more because I don't talk about it quite enough, and this is some of the best things I think. Again, I don't know why we're not teaching these things in school. I shouldn't say that. I do know why we're not teaching these things in school. Common sense things, how to train your brain, how to train your mind, and we're just filing garbage into people's minds constantly. And instead of learning how to understand the brain, understand the mind, understand how we tick, how the humans tick, philosophy, psychology, learning about money, learning about time and energy. Again, one of the most important things I have ever found. Understanding and study. Knowledge, then study leads to understanding, which gives me great hope and gives me faith. And I haven't achieved everything I want to achieve, but I have great hope and great faith because I have the knowledge and then I'm studying constantly to increase that understanding, which then gives me hope and faith, which then I hope, I believe I come off as a positive person, as someone that's in well-being and people want to be attracted to. And I know I have not been that at times in my life, probably the first 2/3 of my life, and just the last 5-10 years, I've been trying to actively get better at that. Now is the time. I'm going to recommit myself to being that person. Because community, we talk a lot about survival, we talk a lot about independence and resilience. Community is one of the biggest things, the number one thing in survival situations. And we are in a survival situation. It doesn't, people make fun of preppers and things like that, like, oh, there's some nuclear fallout, things like that. Well, guess what? That could happen. I mean, look, have we turned on the TV? Have we turned on anything around us to see? There's a lot of nuclear talk, whether it's nuclear reactors or starting that up, or there's bad nuclear headlines and people are going to go to nuclear war with each other. That's a possibility. Or there could be solar flares, or there could be natural disasters and events that are way out of our control that we need to be prepped for. However, there is a cultural nuclear event going on. It's the mind rot. It's the cultural rot that we are going in, that we've talked about, that we've done videos and blogs about constantly, and we've all felt for years. The traditions that they have actively said we are going to tear down, physically tearing down the statues, or actively tearing it down in our schools and teaching kids that are, young kids, kindergartners, insane things in public schooling that we all pay taxes for, and by paying those taxes, say we're okay with that. That's the cultural war we are in. And now is the time for change. It is time to prepare, and time to be in community with each other and banding together and hardening ourselves and being the people that walk the other direction than the herd. Again, one of my favorite quotes of all time is the woman in the Holocaust who was helping the Jews, and someone asked her, "Why were you such a hero?" And she said, "It's not that I was a hero. I just chose to stand my ground, chose to stand where I was in truth and reality, and society just went over the cliff. They just went right by me over the cliff." That she was the person standing there. Maybe she wasn't even walking the other direction. She was just standing there. And the whole society just walked by her and went off the cliff. Like lemmings, like the pigs going over the cliff into the sea. Now is the time. The last 10 years from me was that time to change. I'm hoping this sparks you to make a little change, just even a little bit, 1%, 0.5%, 0.1% in your life that you've been wanting to change. What's that little thing that you've been wanting to change? And just there's things I still am trying to change every single day. I'm thinking about what am I going to do a little better? One of my things is still my sleep schedule, getting to bed even earlier, not 10, 11, and 12, but getting to bed at 8:30, 9, 9:30, and then getting up at 4:35, 5:30 consistently instead of 6:30, 7, 7:30. I'm trying to continually, and I was hours even different than that before, and I'm still trying to repetitively fixate that into my mind so I can then be successful at that and give myself better advantage and to be the best version of myself. We are all given signs at different times in life. I wish I would have known this when I was a young child. I hate saying I wish. I couldn't think of a better word to put here, but if I only had this knowledge, this understanding, and this study, so I could study and become knowledgeable and understand it, I can't imagine where my hockey career would have been. However, I know that I'm in the right place because I wouldn't have the family, I wouldn't have the life that I have now if I had gone through that then. So I'm very fortunate so that's why I shouldn't say I wish. But when you look back and say, wow, I wish I had this, or I wish I had that, just think, hey, you know what? I didn't have that understanding at that time, right? I didn't have the knowledge maybe, or I didn't study enough. Maybe I had the knowledge, but I didn't study enough, so I didn't have the understanding, which didn't lead to the faith and that well-being. So it's okay. Now what are we going to do? Now what are we going to do about today? There's no better time than the present, right? The best time to plant a tree was 20 years ago or today. So let's start today. And I'm continuing, like I said, sleep is one of those big things for me. And I'm going to continue working. We're going to do this together. And I'm going to continue improving myself and the little things, how can I get a little 1/10 to 1% better today? And then 1/10 to 1% tomorrow. Brian Tracy has this thing called the 1,000% formula of being 1,000% better, making 1,000% more money in 10 years because you're getting a tenth of 1% every single day. And that adds up over time, compounding. And then you're 1,000% better at the end of a decade. Can you imagine that? But again, that's not how life works, though. I can't go back and change anything. I can just learn from what I have now. Because as we all know, life isn't fair. And that's okay. Nor do we want it to be fair. We want equal chances in life. We don't want equal outcomes, though, because that wouldn't be fun. Otherwise, we'd all be robots doing the exact same thing all day long, every day. Just like cogs in a wheel, or cogs on a line, just doing all the same things. We can only do or make decisions based off of what we have now, right here, right now. Stay strong to your success. Please, if you got something out of this, please like and subscribe. Please share it with someone you think they might get something out of this. They might like it. They might enjoy it. If you don't like this, or you don't like stuff like this, personal development, growing yourself, please let me know. Please dislike it. Please let me know what you don't like. If we want to go back to the other stuff and do that constantly, please let me know. Please let me know how we can better serve you and what we can do to better utilize your time, because time is the most important asset that we have. It's the finite asset we have besides Bitcoin, but we don't get any more time. We can't buy any more time. So please let me know how I can best serve you and your time. Please also check out the other videos we had about stopping war yesterday, rotting America, our September update of our investment portfolio. Those are just from the last couple of videos we have. So please go check those out. Let me know what you think about those. And we look forward to seeing you on the next one.